Recorded Books and One Click Digital present My Struggle, Book 2, A Man in Love, by Karl Ove Knausgaard. Narrated by Eduardo Ballerini.
29th July, 2008. The summer has been long, and it still isn't over. I finished the first part of the novel on the 26th of June, and since then, for more than a month, the nursery school has been closed, and we've had Vanya and Heidi at home, with all the extra work that involves. I've never understood the point of holidays. I've never felt the need for them, and I've always just wanted to do more work. But if I must, I must. We'd planned to spend the first week at the cabin Linda got us to buy last autumn, intended partly as a place to write, partly as a weekend retreat. But after 3 days we gave up and returned to town. Putting 3 infants and 2 adults on a small plot of land, surrounded by people on all sides, with nothing else to do but weed the garden and mow the grass, is not necessarily a good idea, especially if the prevailing atmosphere is disharmonious even before you set out. We had several flaming rows there, presumably to the amusement of the neighbors, and the presence of hundreds of meticulously cultivated gardens populated by all these old semi-naked people made me feel claustrophobic and irritable. Children are quick to detect these moods and play on them, particularly Vanya, who reacts almost instantly to shifts in vocal pitch and intensity. And if they are obvious, she starts to do what she knows we like least, eventually causing us to lose our tempers if she persists. Already brimming with frustration, it is practically impossible for us to defend ourselves. And then we have the full woes, screaming and shouting in misery. The following week we hired a car and drove up to Chern, outside Gothenburg, where Linda's friend Michaela, who is Vanya's godmother, had invited us to stay in her partner's summer house. We asked if she knew what it was like living with 3 children, and whether she was really sure she wanted us there. But she said she was sure. She had planned to do some baking with the children and take them swimming and go crabbing so that we could have some time to ourselves. We took her up on the offer. We drove to Chern, parked outside the summer house on the fringes of the beautiful Sörland countryside, and in we piled with all the kids, plus bags and baggage. The intention had been to stay there all week, but 3 days later we packed all our stuff into the car and headed south again, to Michaela's and Eric's obvious relief. People who don't have children seldom understand what it involves, no matter how mature and intelligent they might otherwise be. At least that was how it was with me before I had children myself. Michaela and Eric are careerists. All the time I've known Michaela, she has had nothing but top jobs in the cultural sector, while Eric is the director of some multinational foundation based in Sweden. After Chern, he had a meeting in Panama, before the 2 of them were due to leave for a holiday in Provence. That's the way their life is. Places I've only ever read about are their stomping grounds. So into that came our family, along with baby wipes and diapers, John crawling all over the place, Heidi and Vanya fighting and screaming, laughing and crying, children who never eat at the table, never do what they're told, at least not when we are visiting other people and really want them to behave, because they know what is going on. The more there is at stake for us, the more unruly they become. And even though the summer house was large and spacious, it was not large or spacious enough for them to allow themselves to be overlooked. Eric pretended to be unconcerned. He wanted to appear generous and child-friendly, but he was continually contradicted by his body language, his arms pinned to his sides, the way he went round putting things back in their places, and that faraway look in his eyes. He was close to the things in the place he had known all his life, but distant from those populating it just now, regarding them more or less in the same way one would regard moles or hedgehogs. I knew how he felt, and I liked him. But I had brought all this along with me, and a real meeting of minds was impossible. He had been educated at Oxford and Cambridge, and had worked for several years as a broker in the city. But on a walk he and Vanya took up a mountainside near the sea.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.